Keeping on the come up with a 211 in my mind, persuaded by the devil, gripping on my black plastic now. Searching for a lick that I can hit with murder in my soul. Swinging bending corners in the 67 Elko.
As we know, there was an age called the Void Century in OP's world timeline. Except Roger's pirate, not a single living soul on this planet have any idea what really happened within that gap. However, an O'Haran archaeologist, Professor Clover, had a slight hint about it. He told us that in that time there was once stood a prosperous and powerful ancient kingdom that ruled over the ocean. However, they had a certain enemy. This enemy felt threatened by the kingdom's existence and their certain policy. So then they invaded the kingdom and succeeded. The kingdom was fallen to shred and somehow, the enemy managed to wipe out every single information about them from history. Coincidentally, the end of the kingdom's reign also marked the end of the Void Century. At the same time, an organization called the World Government was built for the first time. Clover had a theory that the WG was none other than the enemy itself. Now let's enter the theory. As these words first appeared in chapter 100, they seems pretty meaningless tome. I took them as nothing more than some random cool quotes. However, as STHE story goes deeper, I realized, and some of you might have figured it out as well, that One Piece story has been consistently following those three things: man's dream, the flow of time, inherited will. Let's see. 1. Hyliluke's Sakura. Hyliluke had an impossible goal, and that was to create a panacea capable of curing all kind of diseases or illness. However, his experiments were keep failing and failing for 30 years, though eventually, Hyliluke's Sakura was bloomed. It is still not a miracle cure. Chopper, who greatly respect to Dr. Hyliluke, inherited these will by setting sail and joining Luffy. 2. Golden Bell of Shandorian. Two best friends parted away on the shores of Jaya. Their friendship didn't end here, they promised to meet again someday. Calgara kept ringing the golden bell so his friend wouldn't get lost in his way there. Unfortunately, the fate decided to send island of Jaya 10.000 meters above the sky. Calgara died in the war, while Norland was executed in his hometown. Their promise were totally buried. 400 years later, a boy named Luffy successfully found and rang the long-lost bell, thus fulfilling the forgotten promise. 3. All Blue. Zeph wanted to find the legendary All Blue, but a year of sailing the Grand Line hasn't bear him any fruit. However, he was still pretty assured that the ocean exists somewhere in this world, so he inherited his dream to Sanji, hoping that Sanji will achieve his dream someday in the future. I only picked 3 examples, but there are actually more of them. So, anyone captured the big picture I'm getting at? Or not? Well, here's what I meant. 1. In the past, there's someone who had a certain dream, desire, promise, but for a reason or two they didn't manage to complete it. Man's dream. 2. The dream was delayed for many years, the flow of time. 3. Eventually, there will be someone in the future who will complete her dream, inherited will. That's right, starting from the first chapter up till now, the storyline has always been following this very pattern. I'm quite surprised myself. We've been through this pattern over and over again, though I'm sure very few people are aware of it. I call it the golden pattern. Because Gold Roger created it. This made me think, wouldn't Roger has the pattern of his own as well? My curiosity was finally answered in chapter 576. So apparently Roger had this will, a will that has been inherited for 100 years. And he waited for certain Somine to carry on this will. Somehow it also has something to do with One Piece. So what is this all about? What was Roger's will exactly? The golden pattern. Starting from here, everything is 100% theory. Roger's will that Whitebeard was talking about, it actually wasn't his original will. Roger inherited it as well from way back then, from 800 years ago to be precede. Yes, it was originally the will of the ancient kingdom, let's call it AK from now on. The AK was a big kingdom, it ruled over almost the whole world just like world government does now. They apparently also had a pretty advanced civilization. One could say that there's almost nothing they couldn't achieve with everything they got at the time. However, they had an issue. As we know, the planet of Op contains of big four seas, east, west, north, and south, each were separated by the Red Line and the Grand Line. The AK saw Red Line and Grand Line as a big obstacle because they have been preventing people from traveling from one sea to another, thus preventing the AK from reaching its full prosperity as well. And so they made this project, an insane one, but has to be done. The project was about eliminating the Red Line and Grand Line to fuse the four seas into one big ocean, the United Ocean. They called it the Project of One Piece. In order to do so, they started to build some weapons which will be strong enough to destroy the Red Line, later called ancient weapons. It turned out that not everybody was pleased by this project, you know, politics. Some other kingdoms were totally against it, they smell a conspiracy was playing behind it. But the AK stood their ground no matter what. Guess what happened next? A huge war broke out. It's the AK versus 20 kingdoms who were against the Project of One Piece. The 20 kingdoms came out as the victor and they declared themselves as the world government. Meanwhile, the AK was reduced to shred, along with all their history, and the One Piece project was never heard again since then. Unexpectedly, the AK has anticipated their downfall. Before the war begun, they had carved historical notes on these certain metals which is hard as diamond, later called the Poneglyphs, and hid them throughout the world, along with the weapons they've built. The AK really wanted to make sure that their desire wouldn't die in case of anything bad happened to them. The world government was mad with this fact and completely prohibit any form of poneglyph dechippering, but it's too late. The will has been passing through ages since then, silently waiting for someone to receive the massage. "800 years has passed. A pirate named Roger successfully reached Raftel and discovered the true history. He knows exactly what to do, but unfortunately his body didn't allow him to. He had this incurable disease, remember? Whereas the project needs a lot of power and time to complete two things that Roger didn't have that time. Therefore, he decided to create the golden age of piracy instead, hoping that there will appear someone who is strong and righteous enough to complete the massage in his place. Who will be that someone? I think we all know the answer. Now, how exactly does this project work? Will fusing four seas into a united ocean make Luffy's journey worthy? Let me explain it. It's gonna be a bit technical, so I'll include some illustrations. So here's roughly how the globe looks like. And this is the flat version. The idea of One Piece is to create a united ocean, a perfect ocean to sail. Therefore we have two jobs, fusing all the seas into one and eliminating Grand Line abnormality. Grand Line's abnormality? Is that even possible? Apparently it is possible for the AK scientists. The trick is destroy a spot where every sea on the planet north, west, east, south, Grand Line, New World, and Calm Belt meet in one place. There is a spot like that? Actually, there are two, and both need to be destroyed. The two spots are Reverse Mountain and Mariejoa or Fishman Island, a simple illustration, and here is the meeting spot, the circled Area 1, think for a moment there. It made sense, right? Mariejoa or Fishman Island also has a similar geography, minus the reverse canals. The meeting spot are set. Next, the ancient weapons will do their job, annihilating those spots. Okay, let's do it to Reverse Mountain first. Even with the mighty power of the ancient weapons, the annihilation must be calculated and done correctly to get the wanted effect. If succeed, this what will happen next, losing a huge mass of land, the sea became even more unstable than before, a big whirlpool will appear on the center of destruction spot, storms and tidal wave occurring everywhere. However, they're only temporary, after a couple days the raging storm shall be subsided. And then, the magic began, disastrous random weather on Grand Line and NW suddenly doesn't occur anymore. The magnetic field which make a normal compass useless are completely gone, even the wind starting to blow on Calm Belt. How about sea monsters? Well, this is the time where Poseidon come to play. The Poseidon has fully taken control of the Sea King and make them some kind of police of the ocean to prevent other sea monsters from going wild. Yes, I do think this is very possible. The ideal united ocean is finally created. The project of One Piece officially succeeded. But is that it? It's not. There's actually one more after effect, and it's the most important one. The big whirlpool that appeared after the destruction of Reverse Mountain, it happened because the water mass of the four seas simultaneously flowed into the center of destruction, the place where Reverse Mountain was stood once. Logically, that means every kind of living things which originally lives in four seas were brought there as well. You literally could find every fish species from all over the world here. Wait, was that sounds familiar? Exactly, the destruction spot has become that legendary mythical sea. The United Ocean and the legendary All Blue, at least 6 of Strauwitz's dream will be accomplished because of these achievement. Luffy, he wanted to be the Pirate King, the man who has the most freedom in the ocean. Now that the ocean has been united, Luffy has literally achieved this feat. Sanji, it's obvious, he finally found the All Blue Nami. Now that the entire ocean is free to sail, drawing world map is not so impossible anymore. Frankie, same reason with Nami, Sunny now can travel all over the world. Robin, all of this happened because she found out the true history. Brook, ever wonder how Brook will return to the Twin Cape to meet Laboon? It seems impossible because the Reverse Mountain was in the way. But now, it's gone. They'll meet again with ease. Binks Sake will be played along their emotional reunion. It will be a perfect moment. How do you think? Now how about the spot at Mariejoa or Fishman Island? This mermaid, she didn't lie at all. Nor she's wrong. She was actually foreseeing the event we've been talking about, the project of One Piece. And it is indeed Luffy who will trigger the event. The ancestor of Fishmen Island were actually well aware of this upcoming event. How so? Here's another theory. Joy Boy, he was actually the king of the AK. Okay, I know that sounds so random. There's a theory for that, but let's save it for later. Like I said, destroying both Reverse Mountain and Fishman Island is a must to complete the project. Therefore, King Joy Boy made a proposal of destroying Fishman Island to the former mermaid princess, Poseidon. She agreed, but as an exchange she asked Joy Boy to move her people to a better place on the surface. Joy Boy gave a nod and started building Noah Ark afterwards. Joy Boy managed to finish Noah, but short after his kingdom lost a great battle against the 20 kingdoms. The promised cannot be fulfilled and he apologized to Poseidon through Poneglyph. However, he still promised her that day would eventually come in the future, the day when fishmen and mermen live under the sun. You see that Oda used the another golden pattern again here. Conclusion, the promised day, and Madame Shirley's prediction, they are actually the same thing. The scenario is pretty simple. At the promised day, Luffy will trigger the attack on the destruction spot, but before that, Shirahoshi will command the Seeking to move all of the Fishman Island citizen to a safer place by using Noah. Once destroyed, the same magic which happened to Reverse Mountain spot will also be happened here. The All Blue will appear, replacing the destruction spot. Mermen and fishmen will move here later and make a brand new civilization around the Sunny Tree of Eve. If Sunny Tree has the same reputation with Atom Tree, it will completely survive the destruction. There are illustrations for this, but I lost it somewhere.